Right, let's get one thing straight. There's a special kind of magic that comes with a new graphics card. I'm not just talking about the smell of new anti-static bags, though that's definitely part of it. I'm talking about the pure, unadulterated excitement. It's a feeling I've chased since I was a kid, saving up pocket money for a Voodoo 2. Just last week I relived that feeling. The courier van pulled up and I swear I heard a choir of angels. Inside the ridiculously oversized box was another, slightly less oversized box, and inside that, nestled in foam like a crown jewel, was the beast we're talking about today. It's that moment of potential, that promise of higher frame rates and settings cranked to cinematic, that gets my heart pounding every single time. It's the PC Master Race equivalent of Christmas morning. This time the feeling was even more intense. We've been living in a bit of a weird spot for GPUs lately, haven't we? Prices have been all over the place and performance gains have felt, well, a bit incremental. We've been waiting for that next big leap, the kind of jump that makes you audibly gasp when you first load up a game. So, as I carefully lifted this new slab of silicon and metal from its packaging, the anticipation was palpable. It felt heavier, more substantial than its predecessors. The cooler design was aggressive, all sharp angles and brushed aluminum, whispering promises of silent, ice-cold operation even under the most punishing loads. This wasn't just an upgrade, it felt like a statement, a declaration that the next generation of gaming had truly arrived. Holding it in my hands, I couldn't help but think about the journey, the countless hours spent watching announcement live streams, poring over leaked specs, and debating with the team about what to expect. It's a whole ritual. You disconnect your old faithful card, patting it gently and thanking it for its service, and then you align the new one with the PCIe slot. That satisfying click as it seats is one of the best sounds in the world. It's the sound of progress, the sound of unlocking new possibilities. It's the moment you go from dreaming about 4K 144Hz with Ray tracing on to actually having the hardware to do it. It's pure, simple, unadulterated joy for any tech enthusiast. And let's be real, the first boot up is a nerve-wracking experience. Did I connect the power cables correctly? Will it post? You hold your breath, hit the power button, and wait for the familiar hum of fans and the glow of RGB. When the login screen appears, a wave of relief washes over you. Driver installation is next, a necessary but slightly boring step on the path to glory. But once that's done, once everything is updated and ready to go, the real fun begins. It's time to fire up the most demanding game in your library, head straight to the graphics settings, and push every single slider as far to the right as it will go. That, my friends, is what this is all about. And today, we're finding out if this new card delivers on that promise. So what is this magnificent beast that had me acting like a kid on Christmas? Say hello to the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080. This isn't just a minor refresh or a rebadged chip from last year. This is built on NVIDIA's brand new Ada Next, or whatever they're calling it, architecture, and it represents a significant step forward. The headline feature is, of course, the raw horsepower. We're looking at a staggering 18,432 CUDA cores, a healthy jump from the previous generation. This is the engine room of the GPU, and having more cores means it can chew through complex calculations for gaming and creative work like nobody's business. It's the kind of spec that makes you sit up and pay attention, promising a tangible performance uplift you can actually feel. But it's not just about the cores. The memory situation has also received a serious upgrade. The RTX 5080 comes equipped with 16 gigabytes of next-generation GDDR7 memory. Yeah, you heard that right, GDDR7. This stuff is fast. FAST. It's running on a 256-bit bus, which might sound the same as the last Gen 80 class card, but the sheer speed of the memory chips themselves provides a massive bandwidth improvement. This is crucial for high-resolution gaming. Think 4K textures, massive open worlds, and complex ray-traced scenes. The GPU needs to be able to access data from its memory instantly. And with GDDR7, the bottleneck that we sometimes saw at 4K and even 8K resolutions is significantly reduced. It's about feeding the beast, and this card has a serious appetite. Of course, it wouldn't be an NVIDIA card without a focus on ray tracing and AI. The RT cores, which handle the complex light-bouncing calculations for realistic lighting and shadows, are now in their 4th generation. NVIDIA claims they are twice as fast as the previous gen, which is a bold claim we'll be testing later. On top of that, the tensor cores, the little bits of silicon that power DLSS, are also on their 5th generation. This brings us to DLSS 4.0. It features even more advanced AI-powered frame generation and a new trick called AI texture upscaling, which promises to improve the quality of older game textures in real time. This could be a game changer, breathing new life into classic titles without needing official remasters. And we have to talk about the cooler. This thing is a triple-slot monster, but it's surprisingly elegant. NVIDIA has refined its flow-through cooler design, with a larger, quieter fan on the underside that pulls air through the heatsink and exhausts it towards the top of the case. The vapor chamber inside makes direct contact with the GPU die and the memory modules, which is essential for taming the heat from that speedy GDDR7. It still uses the 12 VHPWR connector, so you'll need a modern PSU or an adapter, but the power draw is surprisingly reasonable for the performance on offer, hovering around 320 watts under full load. It's a feat of engineering that packs immense power into a package that, while large, is incredibly efficient at keeping itself cool and quiet. Alright, enough talk, let's see the numbers. This is the moment of truth. We bolted the RTX 5080 into our top-tier test bench. Think flagship Intel CPU, 64GB of DDR5 RAM, and a super-fast NVMe SSD, and threw everything we had at it. First up, the game that brings even mighty PCs to their knees, Cyberpunk 2077 with all the bells and whistles. At 4K resolution, with psycho settings and path tracing enabled, the results were simply stunning. With DLSS 4.0 set to quality mode, the RTX 5080 averaged a buttery smooth 110 frames per second. For comparison, the RTX 4080 struggled to stay above 70 FPS in the same scenario. That's a generational leap of over 50%. It's the difference between a playable experience and a truly fluid, immersive one. We didn't stop there. In Alan Wake, another graphical titan known for its heavy use of path tracing, the story was similar. At 4K native resolution with max settings, the game was a slideshow on most cards. But with the RTX 5080 and DLSS 4.0 on performance mode, we were locked at a solid 95 FPS. The image quality from the new DLSS is also worth noting. The artifacting and ghosting that sometimes appeared with frame generation in the past are almost completely gone. It's like black magic. For competitive gamers, we tested Apex Legends at 1440p. With settings maxed out, the card barely broke a sweat, pushing out an average of over 300 FPS, easily saturating a high refresh rate monitor and giving you that critical competitive edge. But what about the creators? A card this powerful isn't just for gaming. We fired up Blender and ran the popular classroom benchmark. The RTX 5080 completed the render in a time that was nearly 40% faster than its direct predecessor. This is a massive time saver for 3D artists and animators, where render time is money. In the Puget Bench for Premiere Pro benchmark, which simulates real-world video editing workloads, the 5080 also excelled. Thanks to its powerful NVENC encoder and sheer CUDA core count, it handled 4K and even 8K timelines with complex effects and color grades with ease, delivering some of the smoothest playback and fastest export times we've ever seen from a consumer-grade card. The new AI features also showed their worth. We tested the AI texture upscaling in a few older titles like The Witcher 3, the original, not the remaster. The results were subtle but impressive. Textures on armor, stone walls, and foliage looked noticeably sharper and more detailed without the Vaseline look that some upscaling filters can produce. It's not going to make a 20-year-old game look brand new, but it's a fantastic value add that enhances the experience. Overall, the performance of the RTX 5080 is not just an incremental step, it is a genuine, paradigm-shifting leap that enables experiences at 4K that were simply not possible for a mainstream high-end card until now. It's a beast, plain and simple. Now we come to the part of the review that can make or break a graphics card: the price. Let's not beat around the bush. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 is not cheap. It launched with an MSRP of £1,199 here in the UK. Yes, that's a lot of money. It's the price of a decent used car or a very fancy holiday. This price point immediately puts it out of reach for many gamers, and that's a tough pill to swallow, especially when its predecessor, the RTX 4080, launched at a similar price point, which was already considered expensive by many. So, the big question is, does the performance justify this significant investment? Is it good value? To answer that, we need to look at the price per frame metric. Let's go back to our Cyberpunk 2077 benchmark. The RTX 5080 delivered 110 FPS for 1,199 pounds, which works out to about 10 pounds and 90 pence per frame. The RTX 4080, which can now be found for around 1,050 pounds, gives you 70 FPS, which is about 15 pounds per frame. From that perspective, the RTX 5080 actually offers significantly better value in terms of raw performance than the card it replaces. You are paying more upfront, but the performance uplift is proportionally even greater. This is the kind of generational improvement in value that we love to see, even if the absolute cost remains incredibly high. However, the value proposition gets a bit more complicated when you look beyond the absolute top-tier performance. Does everyone need 110 FPS with path tracing at 4K? Probably not. For a gamer playing at 1440p, the RTX 4070 Ti Super, or even a high-end card from the last generation might still provide more than enough horsepower for a fraction of the cost. The RTX 5080 is for those who want the best possible experience without compromise, for those with a 4K, high refresh rate monitor who want to use every single pixel and hertz to its fullest potential. It's a premium product with a premium price tag aimed squarely at the enthusiast who is willing to pay for cutting-edge technology. Ultimately, value is subjective. If you're a professional 3D artist and the 40% faster render times in Blender save you several hours of work each week, the card could pay for itself in a matter of months. In that context, it's an excellent value. If you're a student who mainly plays Valorant and Fortnite, it's probably overkill and therefore poor value. The RTX 5080 doesn't try to be the card for everyone. It's an aspirational product. It sets a new performance standard, but it asks you to open your wallet wide to be a part of it. For those who can afford it and have the setup to take advantage of it, the value is there. For everyone else, it's a glimpse of the future to look forward to as the technology trickles down to more affordable cards. A king is never truly a king without challengers to the throne, and the GPU market in 2025 is more competitive than ever. Nvidia might have fired the first shot with the RTX 5080, but what about the competition? AMD Team Red has come out swinging with their new RDNA 4 architecture, specifically the Radeon RX 8900 XT. This card is a powerhouse in traditional rasterization performance, the stuff that makes up the bulk of gaming graphics. In titles without heavy ray tracing like Call of Duty or Baldur's Gate 3, the RX 8900 XT often trades blows with the RTX 5080, sometimes even pulling slightly ahead, especially at 1440p. This is classic AMD focusing on raw performance for the money. Where AMD still trails, however, is in the ray tracing department. While their new second-generation ray accelerators are a big improvement over the previous lineup, they just can't quite keep up with NVIDIA's 4th-gen RT cores. In Cyberpunk 2077 with path tracing, the RX 8900 XT falls behind the 5080 by a significant margin, around 25 to 30%. AMD's upscaling tech FSR 3.1 has also improved, but DLSS 4.0, particularly with its new AI features, still holds the crown for the best image quality. The RX 8900 XT's biggest advantage is its price. It launched at £999, a full £200 cheaper than the RTX 5080. This makes it a compelling option for gamers who prioritize rasterization performance and are willing to accept a slight hit in ray tracing capabilities. And then there's the wildcard Intel. Team Blue is no longer a rookie in the GPU space. Their second-generation Arc architecture, codenamed Celestial, has made some serious waves. The flagship card, the Arc B970, is a fascinating piece of kit. It doesn't quite compete with the 5080 or 8900 XT in raw gaming grunt, performing closer to a last-gen RTX 4070 Ti. However, its strengths lie elsewhere. Intel has doubled down on its AV1 encoding and decoding hardware, making it arguably the best card on the market for streamers and video creators who rely on that codec. Its AI upscaling XeSS is also very competitive with both DLSS and FSR. The real kicker for Intel is the price. The Arc B970 is rumored to be launching at around the £750 mark. This completely changes the mid to high-end landscape. It forces gamers to ask what they truly value. Do you want the absolute best-in-class performance of the RTX 5080, the excellent rasterization value of the RX 8900 XT, or the creator-focused features and aggressive pricing of the Arc B970? The presence of a strong third player is fantastic for consumers. It means Nvidia can't just rest on its laurels. The RTX 5080 may be the performance king, but its crown is being challenged from all sides by competitors offering different strengths at different price points. So, after all the testing and comparisons, we have to step back and look at the bigger picture. Is the GeForce RTX 5080 the generational leap we've all been hoping for? In many ways, the answer is a resounding yes. The performance jump over the 40 series is undeniable and frankly massive. We're not talking about a 10 to 15% improvement here. In demanding next-generation titles that lean heavily on features like path tracing, we are seeing performance uplifts of 50% or more. This is the kind of jump that fundamentally changes what's possible in a game. It allows developers to push graphical boundaries further, knowing that the hardware to run their vision now exists in the consumer market. This card feels like it was designed specifically for the 4K high refresh rate monitors that have become the new enthusiast standard. For years, we've had displays capable of 4K at 144 Hz or even higher, but we've lacked the GPU horsepower to drive them properly in the latest AAA games with all the eye candy turned on. We've had to make compromises, either by lowering settings or relying heavily on performance-focused upscaling modes that sacrifice some image quality. The RTX 5080 is one of the first cards that feels like it can finally deliver on the promise of those displays without significant compromise. It makes high-fidelity, high-frame-rate 4K gaming a reality, not just a marketing buzzword. However, we also have to acknowledge the context of the market it's launching into. The price of high-end components has been on a steady, painful climb for years. While the RTX 5080 offers better performance per pound than its predecessor, its absolute cost of £1,199 is still a barrier. This creates a growing divide in the PC gaming community. On one side, you have the enthusiasts who can afford this level of hardware and will experience games in a way that is simply on another level. On the other, you have the majority of gamers who will be looking at mid-range options and hoping that some of this new technology eventually trickles down to a price they can justify. This release also solidifies Nvidia's strategy, leading with technology. They are pushing AI and ray tracing as the future, and the RTX 5080 is the poster child for that vision. Features like DLSS 4.0 and its AI-driven enhancements are becoming just as important as the raw CUDA core count. Nvidia is betting that these features will be the key differentiator that makes gamers choose their ecosystem over the competition. Whether you agree with that strategy or not, you can't deny the results. The RTX 5080 is a technological marvel that sets a new, very high bar for what a consumer graphics card can do. It truly feels like the start of the next generation of PC graphics. So we've reached the end of the road. We've unboxed it, benchmarked it, and compared it to its rivals. What's the final verdict on the Nvidia GeForce RTX 5080? This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most powerful consumer graphics card we have ever tested. It delivers a monumental leap in performance, especially in forward-looking titles with heavy ray tracing. The improvements to DLSS are genuinely remarkable, offering incredible image quality while boosting frame rates to levels that were previously unthinkable at 4K. It's an engineering triumph that is quiet, reasonably power-efficient for its performance, and built like a tank. It is, in every sense of the word, a beast. But it has its weaknesses, and the most glaring one is its price. At £1,199, this is a serious investment that demands an equally high-end system to justify it. Pairing this card with an older CPU or a 1080p monitor would be a colossal waste of its potential. Its sheer size could also be an issue for those with smaller PC cases, so make sure you measure before you buy. Furthermore, while it's the undisputed king of ray tracing, AMD's top-tier card offers very competitive performance in traditional games for less money, which is a valid consideration for many gamers. The RTX 5080 is the best, but it makes you pay a hefty premium for that title. So who should actually go out and buy this card? First and foremost, the 4K gamer. If you own a 4K 144 Hz monitor, and you've been frustrated by having to turn down settings to get a smooth experience, this is the card you've been waiting for. It will unlock the full potential of your display. Secondly, the creative professional. If you're a 3D artist, video editor, or AI developer, the massive performance in creative applications and the time saved on rendering and exports can make the high cost a smart business investment. It's a tool that will make your workflow faster and more efficient, pure and simple. For everyone else, the answer is more nuanced. If you're gaming at 1440p, this card is likely overkill. You'd be better served by waiting for the inevitable RTX 5070, or looking at what AMD and Intel are offering in the more sensible price brackets. But if you have the budget, the right display, and an insatiable desire for the absolute best graphical experience possible in 2025, then the GeForce RTX 5080 is the undisputed champion. It's an enthusiast card for enthusiasts, and for that specific audience, it is an absolute triumph and a clear recommendation. It's not a card for everyone, but for the right person, it's perfect.